We begin with one of our signature issues here at TV 17, domestic violence. The Central California Family Crisis Center says domestic violence affects up to 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men. A local woman says her life was flipped upside down after a devastating attack at the hands of her ex-husband. Now, she says she's been fighting for justice in court.
There's another scuffle right here in the hallway again.
51-year-old Nancy Anderson never imagined she would have to fight for her life one Tuesday morning in May.
My dad just pointed the gun at my mom. Don't touch her!
The fight left her with 2 broken ribs. She says it all started after an argument over drug use. She says she was afraid he was using drugs. Anderson says she found this.
He was in the bedroom using while we were in the house, and I just wanted him to leave. Like, he had came home, got kicked out of rehab, and ended up back here.
She bought him a drug test that morning.
He had agreed to it the night before and the morning of, but when it came down to it, he told me pretty much go boom yourself, and instantly that's what started it.
Police reports say Scott Anderson locked himself in his bedroom. Nancy Anderson says she knocked a hole in the bedroom door.
The minute the hole got in the door, and the hole's probably like this big, the gun came out, was put in my face immediately. It's always been in my room, on my nightstand. It stays loaded. I didn't even know that he had it. He, in the middle of the night, had went in and got the gun.
Police records say Nancy Anderson's daughter called the Bakersfield Police Department at 10:39 that morning.
Help is coming to you, okay?
Police reports say Scott Anderson pointed a gun through the hole in the door. Then he reportedly left that room and pushed Nancy Anderson through the house. That's when police records say he shoved her on top of her daughter's bed and punched her in the ribs.
Scuffle down the hallway, ended up on my daughter's bed, and that's where my ribs were broken. And then my son-in-law was in there, saw everything, tried to protect me, and ensued a scuffle in the front yard, and then he got in the truck and left.
Yes, he just took off running and left with the car.
Anderson says she's still living in fear.
Okay, are you able to secure the doors from him?
Yeah, but I don't know if he can break in.
Anxiety, rushing to get new locks on the doors, having nightmares that still continue today about being shot in the face. My son-in-law shot, my daughter shot.
Scott Anderson was arrested the day after the attack. Months of legal battles for domestic violence and divorce continue to this day.
It is an absolute nightmare right now. There should be legal services for women or for victims that are available to help them with those divorce papers if they're strong enough to leave their abuser. There's not.
Court records show Scott Anderson was charged with gun crimes as well as injuring his spouse. He pled no contest to felony domestic abuse.
So all gun charges were dropped. I disagree that additional charges weren't put against him, but that's not up to the police officer, that's up to the district attorney. Shame on them. Shame on them, shame on California. It's not just me, it's all the other people that haven't come forward.
Why were those gun charges dismissed?
The female in this relationship did disclose to the police that she had caused the damage to the door. What was not made clear was that a weapon, a baseball bat, was used to cause it. And that's something we found out later on. What the jury is going to hear is that the female half of this husband-wife relationship in some ways instigated a confrontation by taking a baseball bat and hammering down a locked door that the defendant was behind.
The district attorney's office says the fact that Nancy had a baseball bat could have made a jury less likely to convict Scott on gun charges, making it possible to lose the whole case.
That type of evidence is something that we examine when we look at, well, what is the strength of this case? What is the likelihood of getting 12 members of our community to all unanimously agree on the charges?
Prosecutors gave Scott Anderson a plea bargain, helping them secure a conviction. And so ultimately he was sentenced to 6 months, correct? 6 months.
First of all, he had a felony. He pled no contest to a felony. The second thing is there's going to be a 10-year criminal protective order that requires that these two people stay away from each other. We wanted to make sure he was on felony probation, which means he's going to be monitored by the probation department, have to check in.
Nancy says she hopes her story will inspire more survivors to come forward.
I have reached out to our leaders from this area, Kevin McCarthy, Shannon Grove, and Vince Fong. Heard back from 2 of them. It's time to go to the people that make the decisions for the state and make changes. Domestic violence victims should not be petrified.
17 News reached out to Scott Anderson's attorney, who said he would not comment on this story. The district attorney's office says Scott Anderson is scheduled to be sentenced on November 14th.